Hello everyone, today we're talking about how a fire captain purchased some items that the ATF said was legal. The ATF later changes their mind, and now he is in possession of items that are getting him felony charges in the state of California. Let's talk about what's going on, why this is important, and we're going to get a little video from him and his lawyer discussing the situation, and we'll give you a little bit of backstory and just kind of make you aware of this kind of situation. Because if you bought one of these items or want to buy potentially sketchy items on the internet, maybe we should have a conversation about how to do things safer. Now, I'm not a lawyer, none of this is legal advice, but let's talk about how one man purchased something the ATF said was legal in 2012, changed their mind in 2018, and now he's facing felony charges. Before we do, though, I do want to say thank you to everyone that supports this channel. Today's video is not sponsored, but if you do want to pick up something from one of the links down below, for example, Gorilla Mode pre-workout, it's something that I really like and that I really believe in. I think it's some awesome stuff. The people over at More Plates, More Dates, great people. They hooked me up with a 10% off code. They are restocking their lemonade flavor tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, they did not pay me to say that, but if you do use the code, I will make a kickback from that. So let's hop into this video from the lawyer and from the man who was actually charged with felonies for buying something that was legal at the time.
Federal agency shows up at your door, it's a little disconcerting. As I mentioned before, 1 minute you're here and all of a sudden there's people with odd badges in your front yard. And obviously I wanted to get this rectified immediately, and just through various forms of communication, it just wasn't rectified. I couldn't figure out what they wanted, and I don't know that they knew what my intent was. Next thing you know,
I think this is a perfect example of how things can go wrong when you're involved with a federal investigation. People like the auto keycard guy, he was a normal ass dude who wasn't breaking the law, and I still hold to the fact that I don't think he was breaking the law. And then we have people like the portable wall hanger dude who was, you know, he was caught with some other stuff as well. But when you're involved in things like this, the ATF can just change their mind or show up one day, whatever it is, for whatever reason, especially if you live in a red flag state, and now your whole life is ruined, and they show up in an inopportune moment, because when is a good time for them to show up, right? So it just, your life can turn upside down at a moment's notice.
now they obtain a warrant to search your house to find this part, and I really didn't know exactly what was going on with it until they showed up that second time.
So the part that he's referring to is a 80% Glock auto switch. Now, these are parts that in 2012, when they were being produced and sold from a company, I believe in Oregon, if I'm wrong, please correct me. Now, they were selling these kits that were 80% complete, and at the time, the ATF said that they were not manufactured enough, similar to how 80% lowers are, but this was a piece that would attach to the back of your Glock, replacing the back plate, and would allow you to switch between full auto and semi-auto at a moment's notice. Now, because they were not fully manufactured, they were considered legal to buy, and many people did. However, in 2018, the ATF changed their mind about what the legality of these items, which led to all of the people who bought from that company being their information given to the ATF, which is now why this man is in the situation he's in. So I think that kind of brings up a topic of, if you're going to be buying things that fall into this gray area, I think you should potentially think about the risks that might come with it, because these companies love to talk a big game, but when it comes time, they're probably going to comply and give the information up, because they're not the ones that necessarily are breaking the law at that point, if they comply with the directives from the ATF. So I think this is something that we've seen before. The information can be given up unless you paid cash, there were no cameras, or if you manufactured it yourself, which apparently there are some designs out there on the internet about how you could print in 3 dimensions a Mom's Demand full auto sear for ARs, Glocks, all that kind of stuff. Now, I've never printed one, I don't know how they work, but apparently those exist out on the internet, and that would be potentially traceless if you did your things right on the internet. But when it comes to buying stuff like that, understand that if the ATF changes their mind, you might find yourself with a knock and talk.
It's been a scary, at the very minimum, scary, life-changing, and also humbling, because you feel like you got a pretty good handle on life and you're doing the right thing and you're a good person and now a member of the community, and you go from hero to zero pretty fast. It's like an overnight thing.
Hero to zero real quick. This guy is a firefighter. I know we live in a world where everybody loves to hate cops, but I'm not aware of any current global agenda of people disliking firefighters. I think firefighters are generally viewed as fairly positively in the public eye. And now this man, who probably risked his life many times to save many people's lives, his life is being destroyed. Is that worth it to you? I don't think so, but apparently the government does.
We always see these pictures, you see these news stories, you see these pictures of somebody done their thing, and they like to bring out all these firearms and place them out, on the driveway.
Arsenal found in local California man's home. We found 10 guns. I did the math the other day. I own 20 firearms. Two firearms. I own 20 firearms. Stack the fuck up.
Whatever, take these large graphic photos, right? And I think the misconception sometimes is that, so-and-so had X amount of bullets or X amount of things or whatnot. And because people are uneducated,
They had an arsenal. They had 50 bullets. What do you need 50 bullets for? You only need one to stop a threat. Just fire 2 blasts into the air.
or don't know much about firearms, they don't understand that, sometimes large amounts of ammunition get used in a competition. You can go through 1,000 rounds of ammunition in one day of a 3-gun competition. And depending on what you're doing or where you're doing it, you could use 4 or 5 different rifles at a time. So it's very hard to just automatically say, well, look at this volume, and then make a decision that this person must be bad.
Shit, I think he says 17. I own 20. Does that make me the devil? Let me know down below. Because I own 20 firearms, am I a terrible person?
They're like anything else. They're like a tool, and they're used for something. And you can't just take something like that. I remember you mentioned the 17 rifles. There being a good reason for that and a lawful purpose, which was described in this Miller versus Becerra decision. Very lawful purpose for owning that amount of firearms. If you're going to do it, though, you got to store them.
Yeah, so unfortunately, as of right now, the assault weapon charges that he's being hit with, since Miller versus Becerra has been appealed up, is going to be appealed up, it won't necessarily affect him directly as of right now. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are kind of hopefully like praying that this kind of court case works, which is why for all the people that say, oh, I just don't participate in the system, I'm not going to donate money. That's fine for you as an individual. I think that non-compliance and not participating in certain aspects of certain types of government, I think that's fine for you as an individual. However, there are many people who have already chosen that route that have gotten in trouble, and now we all together have an opportunity to help protect the people who have already chosen to live and now die figuratively on that sword. So when we say shall not comply, I do think that that is a excellent thing to follow. I'm not a lawyer, this isn't legal advice, but when it comes to should we then just not participate in these court cases, I think there's a lot more than just there's a lot more at stake for people that have already been affected by these laws, because you as an individual might not have been affected yet directly, but people have. And I think it's those people that are truly going to be the most affected by positive impacts of these court cases. And I get it. They take forever. They take a long ass time to make the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has been a bit of a joke. The Ninth Circus is a bit of a joke, but I think it's important that we continue fighting, not necessarily for you or me as individuals, but for the people that might have already been hurt by these laws.
Safely, and you got to get some education, and you got to get representation to find out that you're doing it the right way.
Pretty unfortunate we live in a state where a gun owner and enthusiast pretty much needs to consult legal counsel to ensure that they're situated lawfully with their collection. That is not reasonable, and this state, along with about 4 or 5 others, have laws that make it very difficult for the average citizen to lawfully exercise their rights.
That was perfectly well said. My entire channel has been as successful as it has been and basically exists because California's gun laws are so confusing and so potentially dangerous to people that just want to enjoy firearms and have a gun to protect themselves, because you can buy all these parts, but if you buy that part, you can buy that and then put it on this gun. But if you put it on that gun, then you're 10 years in prison. But then if you take that gun and then put this on it, then you can still have that part on it. And then if you happen to have this other gun that's legal, very similar situation. And then this gun, you take that gun apart, then now this gun being near that part is now a felony. You see how confusing? I realize I didn't have any concrete examples. Maybe it'll be a topic for another day, showing and illustrating how complicated California gun laws are. And I did that in my 3D printing video about talking about how to print a Glock. But the fact that this channel exists is a testament to how crazy California gun laws are. They aren't written to help save anybody's life. They are written to make people like you and me go to jail because we accidentally bought the wrong thing online that the ATF said was chill and now isn't. So let me know what you thought about this article down below. Have you purchased... actually, I shouldn't ask you that. Have you seen items like this on the internet? Because I've had people recently send me photos of advertisements on Instagram of these auto switches. Now, those wouldn't be legal to buy. Do I think you should be able to buy them? Absolutely. Do I think it's smart to use a credit card with your name and a billing address with your name and address on it to buy that online from a potentially fishy website? No. There are ways to do things that would allow you to be free and not acknowledge the unlawful, unjust, illegal laws that potentially won't get you caught. You can buy a 3D printer from some local store. You can then download a VPN and download some files. And then whatever it is that you would wish to do after that, there's some pretty neat stuff out there. At the end of the day, you guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.